So, what are CBT and mindfulness? CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, involves changing thoughts. It's the cognitive part, and actions, the behavior pattern, that interfere with leading a fulfilling and healthy life. The aim of CBT is to help you become your own therapist, and the skills are practical, goal-oriented, and can be practiced every day. Dear worthy friends, some CBT strategies aim to change thoughts and behaviors, while others promote mindfulness and awareness. Anxiety may cause your thoughts to wander. You may fret about the past, or about what might go wrong in the future. Mindfulness helps focus your attention on whatever you're doing right now, in the present moment. Acceptance strategies help you cope with, and even accept, uncomfortable situations or emotions that you can't control or change. Despite what appears to be counterintuitive, the desire to escape the present moment that often causes anguish is actually the anxiety you're experiencing. Focusing your full attention on the present and accepting your discomfort can help you realize that the thing you're trying to get away from is not as overwhelming as you thought it would be. CBT works. As well as anxiety, CBT can improve depression, anger, and other negative emotions as well. In addition to helping people with eating disorders and addiction, it can also help them manage tics and skin picking. It may also help sleep, reduce chronic pain, and help people with eating disorders. Our objective in cognitive behavioral therapy is to build a toolbox. When you have a comprehensive toolbox, you can fix most problems. Hanging a picture. Grab a hammer. Building furniture. Get the drill. The right CBT and mindfulness tools can be applied to most parts of your life. Once you start using them, you can start feeling, thinking, and acting like the person you want to be. One thing that amazes me is how quickly CBT works. A high school sophomore came in recently complaining that her stomach was constantly upset. She had been to multiple doctors who had ruled out any physical illness. We quickly pinpointed how her worry about getting nauseous was making her even more nauseous. In addition, she was avoiding places where she might start thinking about her stomach problems. As we developed a plan together, she began facing her fears by heading to places that made her feel nauseous, and she learned strategies to deal with her anxiety when it came on. These symptoms went from once a day to once a month, and she said they were much easier to manage than she expected. She was confident in her new skills and sure that she could handle the symptoms when they did crop up. Anxiety is adaptive. Picture this, you're Kronk the caveman. You hear a rustling noise behind you and think, oh, that's probably just Grog, back from his berry picking. You don't even look up from your pile of sticks as you say, hey Grog, it's your turn to patrol the cave. But it turns out it's not Grog, it's a tiger, and it pounces before you have a chance to process. Not a very good day for Kronk. Now, scenario B. You hear a rustling noise behind you, and your hair automatically stands on end. Your heart beats faster, you start to sweat, and your muscles tense up. You scan the perimeter of your cave and notice movement in the bushes. You think, this must be dangerous, and run into your safe cave, evading the tiger and surviving another day. A fear response to actual danger is adaptive, healthy, and life-saving. But responding with anxiety to situations that are not actually dangerous can get in the way of your functioning. Think of a smoke alarm. When there's a fire, the smoke alarm provides an important signal to leave the house or put out a fire. When the smoke alarm goes off without an actual fire, it's a nuisance. Imagine if every time a false alarm sounded, you responded as if there were a real fire by grabbing the fire extinguisher, running out of the house, and calling 911, all because you burned a slice of bread in the toaster. Anxiety is a false alarm that signals danger even when it isn't present. Our goal is to learn strategies to treat these experiences like false alarms rather than true fires. The CBT model of emotions. CBT breaks emotions down into three parts: thoughts, physical sensations, and behaviors. Say you're afraid of dogs and you see a dog coming toward you along the sidewalk. You feel afraid, that's your emotion. You think, that dog might bite me. That's the thought. Your palms get sweaty, your breath quickens, and your heart speeds up, that's the physical sensation. And finally, you cross to the other side of the street, that's your behavior. As you can see, your emotions, thoughts, sensations, and behaviors are interconnected, and each of these parts plays a role in maintaining and strengthening the emotion that you feel. Each of these parts can trigger a full-blown anxiety cycle. It's important to note that there's always a trigger to anxiety. It may just be hard to identify because our reactions are often so automatic. Changing one of these parts, thoughts, sensations, or behaviors, can help you break out of the cycle. For example, if you were in the same exact situation but thought, "Hey, that's a really adorable dog," you probably wouldn't cross the street or notice those bodily sensations. Or if you had kept walking without avoiding the dog, you might have learned that it was harmless, which might in turn lead to less anxiety the next time you face a dog. You might be wondering why you've never noticed these separate but interconnected factors before. When you're in the thick of a negative emotion, everything is just an overwhelming blur of fear and anxiety. Our goal is to help you break down these anxiety tornadoes so you can tease out the pieces and manage them separately instead of getting lost in them. Here's another way to show how connected these pieces are. If you start feeling sweaty and notice your breathing speed up, you might think, "Whoa, something is wrong with my body." If you think something is wrong, your heart might start racing or your muscles might tense up. That unpleasant bodily response just confirms that something really is wrong with your body, so you try to do something to get rid of the sensations, like running to the kitchen to drink a glass of water. This behavior seems like a great move. But since you are feeling nervous, you drop the glass on the floor and spill water everywhere, which only makes you more anxious. If you had stayed in the situation and observed how your sensations affected your thoughts and behavior, you might have noticed that in most situations, even the most unpleasant thoughts and sensations gradually go away on their own. Anxiety tries to get you to escape or avoid unpleasant situations. That may provide short-term relief, but it doesn't show you how to handle the situation the next time it comes up, which it probably will. How avoidance keeps anxiety going. Let's say you have a paper due next week. You aren't sure where to start, which makes you feel anxious. You may think, "I'll never get this done in time." You may also notice some changes in your body. Your hands start to get sweaty, your muscles feel tight, and your stomach starts to turn. That's a subtle fight-flight-freeze response, your body's way of telling you you're anxious. So you blow off the paper and spend the night FaceTiming with friends. You can always start tomorrow instead, right? You feel great until tomorrow, when you still have the paper due but less time to do it. In the short term, avoidance makes you feel better. In the long term, it leaves you with fewer skills and feeling worse. Avoidance can also spiral really quickly. Although it's the quickest way to feel better, it can actually cause more unpleasant thoughts and sensations over time. If you need to give an oral presentation to your class and it makes you feel anxious, you can run out of the room and avoid that specific presentation. But what are you going to do next time? And the time after that? And what if your classmates now think of you as the girl who runs out of the room when she's called on? In this scenario, you've let anxiety get in the way of your long-term growth as a student. In Chapter 5, we'll discuss more about avoidance and beneficial skills to use instead. Uncovering your triggers. Anxiety always has a trigger. A good way to identify your triggers is to ask yourself a simple question: what happened before you felt anxious? Triggers don't have to be specific events, though they can be. They can also be thoughts or physical sensations, or even behaviors. Any part of the anxiety cycle can start the spiral. The good news is that changing any part of the cycle can keep your anxiety from spiraling out of control. We're often so caught up in how bad anxiety feels that we have trouble noticing when and how it starts. Like a scientist collecting data, Being able to just notice what you're thinking or feeling in the moment can give you important clues about what skills to use. I call this building awareness, or mindfulness. Know that triggers can be internal or external. An external trigger is anything that happens outside your body or self, like a fight with a friend, an exam, or a doctor's appointment. An internal trigger can be a personal belief or thought or a bodily sensation. If you're not sure what triggers your anxiety, you can use the exercises in Track Your Anxiety to begin figuring it out. What Track Your Anxiety is? We discuss this exciting topic in the next video. Okay, my worthy friends. I hope by watching this video you will get a brief idea about how avoidance keeps anxiety going using CBT. You can help us by hit like, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.